Good morning, everybody. Let's take a look at the trade plan from yesterday. It was going to be pretty much the same, and then you had this pretty strong sell-off on the pre-market, which then got reversed. But funny enough, we are back into that overlapping value. So these levels might be the same as last night. Let's double check here. So they're about the same. What I would change is I would raise these lower targets a little bit. So I'd raise these to where the value is now, so probably around 36, and then probably the overnight low at 22. And then holding above 45, we have that retrace into 58. That's still good. And then above that, we have a level at 75 as well, so that's still fine as well. So just updating the lower targets to raise them to where the new value is. The day shape on this one is a little bit harder because you kind of have like a trend profile where we have multiple nodes kind of throughout the day, but you kind of have a V shape. It's already reversed that trend, right? You had a trend to the downside, then you had a fade, and it went against that trend, and then you had a trend to the upside. So you could make the argument that it is a trend profile that's bullish right now, because obviously that more recent price action is bullish. That's probably the closest thing you could say. It's not really a capital B. It's not really a D shape. It's not really a P shape. So really the closest profile would be a trend profile. And our bias currently would be bullish, maybe a little neutral, because we are in that overlapping value. But it would be slightly bullish because look at the 30-minute lows. They're being protected pretty much every single candle since like 4 a.m. So if that trend continues, if you're still protecting those 30-minute lows, then you would be bullish. But if you start to ignore those lows and just kind of chop out here, then obviously you'd be more neutral, respecting that overlapping value. Okay, it's nearly bar by bar identical on NASDAQ, so we tried to lose value, which it did for a little bit, but now it's recovering that value, and we are back into the overlap. So if it continues to protect these 30-minute candles, then it's still slightly bullish, but if it just begins chopping around the overlapping value, then it's just neutral again. So same thing here, we probably have to update these lower levels to respect the new value. So we can take that kind of POC and the overnight low. The main thing to watch for this to be bearish would be kind of what it's doing right now, where it's instantly rejecting this return to this balance here. So if the open just has a lot of sell pressure, then just keep an eye on those 30-minute lows. You might start taking those out. But for now, they are being protected. We have a few minutes left. Let's take a look at how the metals are doing here. So we had this really big fib from this impulse back from August all the way up to October, which gave us a very easy level to pull a fib from. And then our fake out level ended up being around 45.33, and that's pretty much exactly where we had that fake out, where it tried to break this prior high, but then it hit that level, and now we're back into that prior high. So metals are looking a little bit weak here, a little bit of a trap on that high. So keep an eye on these lower VWAPs if it does continue downward. Now this is mostly because of the brokers expanding the margin requirements for metal trades. So anybody that has metal trades on most major brokers, they have to have more margin, more money in their account to protect those trades. And they expanded the margin requirements 2 times. They just announced the second expansion yesterday. Silver nearly hit our final target for that impulse. Okay, still trying to break those 30-minute lows here. Trying to reject that pullback into value. So if those 30-minute lows continue to be taken out, just keep an eye on VWAP. Good morning, everybody. Want Itachi, AT, Leo, Darius, Nitro, Estevan, Bushido, Larry, Greg, Adam. Good morning, Adam, Mr. B, Ram, Samuel. Coding eBay, Ordinary, Fernando. Good morning, Igor, Faraj. Praven, Lubomir. Good morning, Ike, Brian, Michael, Lucio. Appreciate you guys being here. Happy New Year's. I won't be here tomorrow, so I can't tell you tomorrow. New Year's Eve for now. So yesterday we had insanely low volume. Hopefully today is better because it is the last day of the month, the last day of the year, last day of the quarter, you know, all that stuff. No, I don't do anything fancy for New Year's. I might go out to dinner or something. Nothing crazy. Keep an eye on VWAP if it does continue, coming up around 38. NASDAQ VWAP is 633. 30-minute lows being taken out. They were protected since the overnight low around like 3 a.m., 4 a.m. Starting to reject that trend here. Also rejecting that overlapping value for the last couple of days. Little bit of a back test into that overlapping value. So you could have an overnight fade today, but it's kind of a weird one. Because it'd be like the second overnight fade. Because the overnight was already faded by itself, basically. So we had a trend, went against it, and now we have a new trend. So we could have another push down to reject this last move. Yeah, it's a little bit of a weird one because it's already kind of a two-directional overnight. Yesterday was your last day to have your trade settle in 23, yeah. You still normally see a pretty big spike on these final days. Last day of the month, last day of the quarter, all that stuff. So we'll see. Hopefully our volume picks up after the holidays, probably next week. This time of year, like the week after Christmas, going into the new year, typically very slow. People are on holiday, people are just taking the time off. Even if they're not like on vacation, they're still just taking the time off from trading. coming back with a fresh new year, starting over, seeing that yearly P&L level reset. It's kind of a fake reset, but it still has its effect on your mind, right? You still think about it differently. Good morning, Sam. Lucio, you said today we have the JPM collar. Yeah, I don't track that stuff, so I'm not sure. I see the headlines every now and then, but I don't track the important dates or anything. So I'm not sure. Keep it on VWAP here at 38. You need like 20 more points on NQ as well. Here is that VWAP test. So not a great look for the buyers. This is exactly what I said right before the open. I was talking about how we need to see how it respects this retest of this overlapping value. If you see that immediate sell pressure, that is not a good sign, because it's basically saying that we do not want to rotate inside this overlap. They are rejecting the overlap. So it's kind of like a overnight fade, like I was just saying, fading this move up here. There's our rotation level hitting that value low, blowing through VWAP. Yeah, so this was basically worst case scenario for that retest of that overlapping value, showing that it's very bearish and it is being respected. So on a macro scale, this is starting to look like a rollover top now, because you had this kind of initial high over here, pushed up, tried to gain more value, instantly rejected that value, and now we are putting in these lower highs here. Tried to reclaim value, failed. Tried to reclaim value, failed. So not a great look on the higher time frames. Morning, Tom. Definitely seeing an increase in volatility today. Volume, we'll still have to wait and see. So far, the volume's not too bad. You can see we're getting level 2 orders. The speed of the tape is a lot faster. Yeah, today is a normal day. Tomorrow is a full day off, and today is a normal trading day. Which, by the way, I won't be streaming tomorrow, obviously. I'll be back on Friday. Don't type in all caps in my chat, but no, I don't use bookmap. It doesn't help my style of trading. I don't need level 2 liquidity information. Turning into a capital B here. First node around the open, second node on the low of day here, so obviously a bearish bias with the most recent node being on the low, and then you just shift the POC down to the lower node now. Yeah, you'll rarely hear me talk about gamma levels on stream. I do every now and then. If it's like a really big expiration or something. I used to talk about them a lot more. I don't use them on a daily basis or anything, though. It's usually if I see something interesting. So our first target is hit, by the way, 36. Our next level is 22. And that is basically the overnight low. 36 was the POC retrace, rejecting that value. Oh, sorry, I was muted. I don't know how long I was muted. I was saying, funny enough, it's still a trend day. We're just trending downward now. It is respecting those 5-minute highs every single candle, just as we were respecting the 5-minute lows and 30-minute lows earlier. So very trendy day. They're picking a level and sticking to it. Or sorry, picking a direction and sticking to it. They're not going back and forth, disrespecting the EMAs and the extremes of the candles. If we backtest this node, pay attention to how it reacts. It might rotate it, it might instantly reject. Our first trade plan target is also hit on NASDAQ at 621. Next level coming up pretty soon. Starting to get a little bit of bullish delta on these lows here. Pretty nasty rejection of that 30-minute pivot. Which, by the way, I forgot to do the Momo Monday this week. So I'll either do it on Friday or we'll just do it on Monday. Hopefully I remember. Yeah, the pivot right here. This is the pivot from the open of yesterday. Being rejected. The daily Momo's still not picking a direction. A lot of chop up here. Really nice bounce off the daily trail last week. Also a retest of that daily pivot. Weekly trail still acting as support. Very flat bearish momentum right here. Have to see if it reclaims that trail anytime soon. That would be around 929. Sorry, the trail's at 33. I'm not sure where I got that 29 level from. I think I was looking at the current price. So here's that trail test here. Also backtesting VWAP. See how it responds to VWAP here. So far, not finding any buyers above VWAP. Still not finding any buyers above that VWAP, so this could be a very small bear flag into VWAP. Possibly retesting that low. Here's that prior low from that little bear flag in the VWAP. It's not a very big bear flag in the VWAP, so it's not offering you too much profit there. But it is just doing the same thing it always does, where it hits that VWAP, then it comes back to the prior low. This prior low target is basically achieved on this VWAP trade here. Just keep an eye on the EMAs. If you don't reclaim them, you could go for a lower low. You can see we're rejecting this node right here, which has become the POC. So they're trying to backtest this POC node. But look at the fall off. The volume is non-existent above that node. They can't find any buyers back above the POC, which is basically VWAP as well. Pretty much this node right here. VWAP is kind of the high of the node. So backtest failing to find buyers here. Already finding a lower node. There's a little bit of absorption here. There's a lot of delta coming in at 28. They need to push away from it. Looks like we're back to that low volume, low volatility. Speed of the tape is very slow again. We still have this small gap here on ES going down to 93. I don't think it would get there today, but it could get there if this sell-off continues the next couple of days. Getting pretty close to that overnight low here. Found a lot of buy pressure there on the pre-market. So now you're absolutely taking out the prior low. So that bear flag in the VWAP is 100% finished. back into that lowercase b type of day where it's trying to extend the lower tail. This is that second trade plan target, that 22, which is that overnight low coming up. Below that, you really don't have a level until like 13, possibly the gap at 93, but that'd be a really big drop for this much volume. Second target on NASDAQ coming up at 52. Then you have a level at 470 as well. Bear flag in the VWAP, it's already done. That was about 30 minutes ago. Can you trade silver in Apex? I believe so. If you're trading the silver future, check the bottom of Apex's site. They have like a list of things you're allowed to trade. I believe gold and silver are on there. I know you can trade gold, so you should be able to trade silver. Yeah, they have like a permitted list at the bottom that tells you all the things you can trade. It's basically all like the normal futures. Confirming a sweep just comes down to how aggressive you want to be. You either wait for the candle to close or you take it like right as the sweep is happening. So like this is technically already a sweep. But we don't know if it's going to close a sweep. So you can look at the lower time frames like the 5-minute, the 15-minute, are they sweeping? How's the value? Like is it building nodes above the sweep? Yeah, it really just comes down to aggressiveness, how aggressive you want to be. Keep an eye on VWAP again. We already had a bear flag in the VWAP played out about 30 minutes ago. Possibly a second one, but this is once again another small one. This is Addis, the platform. ATAS. Yeah, Happy New Year, guys. Reminder, I will not be streaming tomorrow because the markets are closed for New Year. But I will be back on Friday. The markets are closed for a full day tomorrow, and then they're back to normal on Friday. It's always weird taking a day off and then coming back on a Friday. But this Friday should be it should be good because it is the first trading day of the year, right? I started streaming around New Year's. I don't remember the exact day, but it was in January around New Year's. So this is my, I think it's what, my 8th year? Yeah, this will be the 8th year. It's possibly retesting VWAP here. Just keep an eye on those EMAs. If it holds above the EMAs, possibly playing out this 30-minute sweep into that VWAP at 32 to 34. That would also be a retest of the value high of a lowercase b, so you would expect there to be sell pressure there. If there is not sell pressure there, it becomes a pretty strong squeeze back to the high of day. That's if they can even break this 30-minute high. You haven't lost the 30-minute high since 8:30. It's so funny how many times I'm like scrolling on YouTube looking for a video to watch, and I get all these videos about the housing market in Florida or the housing market in New York, and that, like all these housing market, it's gonna crash, right? All those clickbait videos, like, oh, it's gonna crash now. The same channels have been making videos about the housing market crashing for like 5 years. I just don't know how you upload a video and then like you upload the same exact video the next week and it still hasn't happened. You upload the same exact video the week after. Like, holy shit, I don't know. I don't understand the clickbait stuff. It's beyond cringe. Don't worry, guys, the housing market has only been crashing for 20 years. Same on the markets. Yeah, exactly. Yep. Same thing with any asset, crypto, gold and silver. I'm sure people were making videos about gold and silver crashing as it was going up 100%. Those people are very strange. It's like, look at the stock market. We're almost at 7,000. There's almost a 7 in front of our ES chart. And people are probably still making videos about how it's crashing. But hey, they do it because it works, right? People watch the videos, I guess. Negativity sells. We're almost in the I told you so phase for the metals guys. The ones who have been calling for a crash for the last year. Goes up 200%, goes down 10%, they start making the I told you so videos. And then rinse and repeat for the next cycle. I wouldn't say it's super common, but they do that on different assets when there's too much like volatility. Well, so they say, right? It's like a volatility protection. They do it every now and then on like different stocks. Like a great example is back when the meme stocks were blowing up, like GameStop, AMC, even like Rocket. They raised the margin on those as well. That was one of the funny stories on stream that we had back during the I think it was like COVID times. I think it was like 2020 to 2022, somewhere around there. And we were doing a lot of options trading back then, if you guys were in the Discord. and we were doing a lot of selling. We were selling premium. And we were selling, I forget what it was. I think it was, I don't remember if we were selling calls or selling puts. I think we were selling puts on Rocket. And they did that same thing where they raised the margin that you needed for those positions that you were in if you were selling contracts or whatever. And they basically margin called me because my position was pretty large. So they margin called me. They wanted me to put a bunch of money in my account to cover the Rocket position. And I had to call the broker and ask him what was going on. And it was pretty funny because I was selling puts, and if you guys know how options work, if you're selling, like, let's say I'm selling a contract at $20, and it's at like $25 or $30, then my contract is safe, right? But if it goes below that, then the contract is in danger. At the time, Rocket was like way higher than my contract. Like it was well within the margin of like being very, very safe. It was like a done deal. I think I was up like 80%. And when you sell premium, you're usually closing at like plus 50% or plus 80%. Or you can let it expire at 100%. You collect 100% of the profit. And I think I was up like 80%. It had like maybe a week or two left to expire. So I was like, whatever, just let it expire. But then they margin called me. So I contacted the broker, and I was talking to the lady, and I was like, what's going on with Rocket? Like, why are you margin calling? And I was basically like, there's almost no chance that it comes back to where my put is to put me in the money and make this a losing position where you would need more margin on this trade. And she was like joking that, hey, it's already down like 5 or 10% today. It could go down another 20 or 30% to put me in the money. And that's pretty much exactly what happened. Like the next day, Rocket was down like 30% or something. Thankfully, I closed the position, so we were still fine. But yeah, they margin called people almost at the exact moment that thing dropped like 30%. And a lot of people were probably not as lucky as I was. Like they probably didn't close their positions, and they probably got killed by that margin call. But yeah, it was just funny that she was basically saying like, oh, it's already down like 5 or 10%. Going down another 30% is not too hard. And that is exactly what happened. The broker's never wrong, right? Let me see if I can find what day that was on the chart. I think it was March 21. If you go to Rocket on March 2021, it had that really nasty day. Yeah, here it is. I'll show you. This is exactly where it was. Sorry for the flashbang. My chart's white. But we were selling premium at the time, and I think I was selling, if I remember correctly, I think they were somewhere around here. It was like in the 20s. It was like 23 to 25. And then it shot up. So if you're selling puts down here, and it's all the way up here, the chance of you losing money is basically zero. Like there is almost no chance in a normal market would something like this come back down 50 to 60% in 1 or 2 days to wipe out your position. But because the volatility was so high, they margin called this position. And then look at the next day here. The day after margin calling, it dropped 33%. And then another 4%, another 6%, so on and so forth. Yeah, thankfully, like I said, I was selling puts down here, so this didn't matter. I still made pretty much 100% profit. But yeah. That's the problem when they margin call, when they increase the margin requirements. It almost always does that. It leads to a massive sell-off because nobody wants to flood their account with more capital. That's if they even have the capital, right? A lot of people don't even have the capital to flood their account to pay for that or to cover that margin. So they're just going to close the position, which causes a massive sell-off, right? That's the same thing you're seeing in silver and gold. I know that was a very long-winded example, long-winded story, but that's the same thing you're seeing in metals. Is they're performing margin calls and people are not wanting to put up more capital, so they're just closing the position. That was with Tasty Trade. Tasty Trade's a really good broker for the most part. I've been with them for years. Yeah, if you guys don't know what's going on with the metals thing, that's basically what's happening is they're telling people to put more money in their account to cover their positions. If they don't have the money or if they don't want to, they're just closing the position, which obviously most positions right now are on the buy side because the market is so bullish. So the opposite of that would obviously be on the sell side, right? Not only have they raised the margin requirements once, they did it twice. So anybody who put more money in their account the first time, they got to put more money in their account again. It's really annoying. Excuse me. A little bit of a higher low here. Excuse me. A little bit of a higher low here, but a lower low on price, higher low on delta. It was naked, I'm pretty sure. It was, I believe, it was years ago, so I don't remember exactly, but I think what it was a cash covered put. So like I was selling puts that were cash covered, meaning if it did assign me, I would just buy the shares at whatever that price was. But when you sell premium, most of the time the broker is not locking up all of your cash. They're only locking up 10%, 20%, 30%, whatever the margin requirement is for that position. And at the time, if you guys were in the Discord, we were taking a lot of trades. So my money was basically all being allocated. It was all being used. I was selling a bunch of premium. I was buying a bunch of calls, whatever. I had a bunch of shares, whatever. My money was just being used. So I didn't technically have the cash to cover that put at that very moment because my money was in my other positions. So when they did the margin call, they either wanted me to close my other positions to free up that cash, or they wanted me to throw a bunch more cash into the account. I don't remember what I did, but I think what I did was put more money in the account. I waited a few more days, for the expiration. I think my expiration was like literally that week. And then it just expired in the money, I believe, or out of the money, I believe. But like I said, that was years ago. I don't remember exactly what happened. But that's what happens when you're selling premium. Is they're not taking all of your capital and locking it up, they're only taking a percentage of it. So you can use that capital for other positions, whether that be different options or buying more shares. It wasn't a bull call spread, it was selling puts. If you guys don't understand options, I can't really get into it. It's a lot of jargon and extra stuff that I have to teach. I was just trying to give a random example. But when you sell puts, they require margin. Thankfully, nowadays I'm trading mostly futures, which is much more straightforward. You don't need a lot of... There's not a lot of jargon. Not a lot of fancy stuff that goes into futures. It's mostly just buying and selling. Was that the third time they raised margin on silver? Yeah. Yeah, they're raising it quite a bit. Here's that 22 target, by the way. It was already hit before, but we're kind of hanging out on that area. Next level is around 13. I'm not sure. You'd have to check Tasty's margin accounts. Thirty-minute highs still being protected. Haven't lost one since 8:30. Coming up on that overnight low on NASDAQ. You're already taken out on ES. This is that worst case scenario that we talked about on the trade plan earlier, is when you instantly rejected this overlapping value. So you back tested it, you didn't rotate, you just instantly rejected it, and now we're back down. So a little bit of an overnight fade. Keep it on 13, possibly 93. That'd be a pretty big drop today, but that would be the next major level. These are very strong candles. Picking a bad time to push this. If it closes down here, you will have single prints going back to that 19 level. Delta exploding here, possibly a lot of stop losses being triggered. Keep it on the close here in 1 minute. The candle close, I mean. Possibly some single prints going back to that overnight low. Those are delta imbalances, so the delta is really high there. Okay, there are a couple of single prints here going back to 19. Single prints are instantly filled in. That's good. See if it stays below the 24 here. Looks like that move up was just filling in the single prints. You're not actually holding above this 24 just yet. Little bit of absorption here. A lot of buyers from like 16 to 18 where it filled in the single print, but they're not able to get any profit or anything. Kind of getting stuck. Trying to put in a very micro higher low here. You can see this little push up right here. All right, guys, it's really slow, so we're going to call it an early stream. But before we go, I'm going to do a Apex account giveaway for you guys that are hanging out here. I know it's the new year. Viewership is really low this time of year. So I appreciate you guys that are here hanging out. I know most people are on holiday or just taking the time off to reset before the new year. Yeah, for you guys that are hanging out, let me go ahead and get the giveaway ready. Appreciate you guys all being here. I know it's a really slow time of the year. There's not many people in here, so we're going to do... Let's just do like 1 through 40. So pick a number like 1 through 40. And if you guys tie with somebody else, we'll keep rolling until one of you guys wins. We'll do a tiebreaker. Yeah, pick a number 1 through 40. What time is it? I'll give you guys a couple of minutes and then we'll go ahead and do the roll. I'll just put this right here so you guys remember it's 1 through 40. 1 through 40, only pick one number. If you guys pick multiple numbers, I'm just going to delete your messages. Make sure to have your email ready because I will be emailing the code to you. I'll just need you to verify your email first. All right, I'll give you like 1 more minute. If you guys haven't picked a number, just pick 1 through 40. Pick one number. If you guys do tie, I'll do a tiebreaker. If you guys don't win and you are looking to get Apex accounts, they are still 90% off until I think it's next Tuesday. What day is it? I don't think it's this coming up Tuesday. I think it's the Tuesday after, I believe. No, it is, yeah, this coming up Tuesday. So the 6th. All right, I'll give you 20 more seconds, then we'll go ahead and roll it. Excuse me, we have a little bit of spike and delta here. Bullish delta coming in. Possibly a very large bear flag into VWAP if it can make it back to VWAP. That would be retesting the POC as well. All right, good luck, everybody. I'm going to roll it here. 36. Let's see here. Okay, we do have a 36. Is there multiple 36s? I believe there is only one. Are you still here, Nag? Hey man, have a good new year. We'll see you back on Friday. Awesome, you're still here? Okay, I'm gonna roll one more winner, so we'll do 2 winners. 40. Did anyone choose 40? People don't normally choose the last number. I don't see a 40. No, there's no 40. Okay, let me re-roll. 36. What is this number generator? This is hilarious. All right, 31. 36 with a double win. 31, let's see. The RNG is not so random, yeah. I don't see a 31. I think I'll roll again. $39. I don't know why it's picking all 30s. It's 1 through 40. I swear I'm not rigging it. $39. Let's see. There is a 39. Are there multiple 39s? Let me see. James, are you still here? Awesome, you are. Okay. All right, so we have our 2 winners, Nag and James. Let me put my giveaway email in here. So our 2 winners, go ahead and send me an email there. Just put your YouTube name and that you won the giveaway. I'm going to send you a random number and then just type that number in chat just to confirm that it's actually you. And then I'll go ahead and send you the Apex codes, which, by the way, the codes are going to give you a 30-day free account. So any size you want, just put that code in as a promo code, same place you put the brew code. and it will make the account free for 30 days. After 30 days, I don't remember if it goes back to 50% or 100% price. So it will charge you after the 30 days. So make sure to go back to the brew code for the higher discount after 30 days. Basically, just cancel the account if you don't pass it. Yeah, if you guys are heading out, Happy New Year. Enjoy your time off. I will be back on Friday. And then we will be streaming same time as always. Let me know when you guys have sent the emails. I don't believe I see them yet. Let me see. I got yours, James. I'm going to send you a random number. Just confirm that in chat. Gotcha, James. Gotcha, Nag. Put the random number I sent you in chat, and then you're good to go. And then I will be sending you a promo code. And like I said, it's just a normal promo code. Just basically go sign up for any size account you want, and then put that code in as the promo code. And it will make it free for 30 days. Gotcha, okay. So you're both good to go. You'll see those codes here in probably like 5 or 10 minutes. But all right, guys, we're going to call it there. If you guys are in Discord, I will be streaming there for the rest of the day. If you guys are not in Discord, enjoy your new year. Enjoy your time off. The markets are closed tomorrow. I will be back on Friday. The markets are normal on Friday. Same time as always. For today, be on the lookout for this backtest of VWAP if this bear flag does continue. Keep an eye on 27 to 30, which is also around the POC. So if they reject that retest, it could be a bear flag into VWAP, which goes right back down to the prior low. In this case, that'd be around 17 to 15. If it does continue up, just look for the rotation. If it breaks through VWAP, rotation goes to 37. It's bottoming on that lower level that we had around 13, almost to the exact tick. So they are finding a little bit of support on Tuesday. That was Tuesday the 23rd. But all right, guys, if you're in Discord, I'll see you there. If not, like I said, enjoy your new year. I'll see you guys back on Friday. Peace, everybody.